I've got a big plan that I've been working on for a year now, and I'm ready to tell you about it because I want to ask you if you agree with my big plan and if you want to help me do it. The big plan is to take our little channel, the Rebel.media, and turn it into the largest, most influential news media outlet in Canada, as big as Global TV or CTV or even the CBC, and to eventually expand beyond Canada too, over the internet to the rest of the world. Now, I know that must sound crazy, but hear me out for a minute. I'll show you how we can do it. I'll show you what we've been able to do so far on a shoestring budget. Then I'll tell you what we're going to do here at the company. And finally, I'll tell you what I hope you will do to help us get there together. Now, first, let me say I don't mean that we're going to be bigger than the CBC financially. Of course not. That's impossible. The CBC gets $1.5 billion tax dollars every single year from Justin Trudeau. That's not going to happen here. And, they just decided that's not enough. Now they're demanding another $400 million a year from taxpayers. Obviously, we'll never be that wasteful or luxurious. We'll never pay people $1 million salary like Peter Mansbridge or David Suzuki or Jian Ghomeshi, CBC celebrities who have gotten very, very rich off the taxpayers' dime. No, when I mean big in viewership and readership, a big audience having a big impact. I want us to become a leading source of news and opinion, to tell people the other side of the story. I actually think there's a really big demand for that in Canada and other parts of the world too. I think the success of Brexit in the UK and Donald Trump in the US show that. People are sick of the liberal elites, the think-alikes. We get the same bland left-wing talking points from the media, from pop stars, from celebrities, from student activists and professors, from judges and lawyers. Everyone's so politically correct. I really think there's an audience for the other side of the story, for real talk on everything from mass Muslim migration to the West, terrorism, to the globalist bullies of the United Nations, to the fake hype about global warming and how that hype is used as an excuse for a carbon tax. There's so many things where the media and the political elites all agree with each other, and they're furious that mere citizens dare to disagree with them. And so they call you and me racist or sexist or transphobic or whatever anytime we disagree with their ideas. I want the Rebel to be an antidote to that. You can see why I call it the big plan, though. It's a huge job, but I think we can do it. I think we can fix the problem. In fact, I think we already are. Take our little team. There were just 8 of us when we started in my living room last year. And then when the missus kicked us out of the house, we did videos on the street. Well, that little team has now grown to 25 people, about half of them on TV, about half of them behind the scenes doing hard work, and all of us giving you the news and commentary no one else is. We do a bit of activism too, whether it's fighting an anti-beef boycott or distributing thousands of anti-carbon tax lawn signs. I mean, we're different. Like when we crowdfunded Sheila Gunn Reid's trip to the United Nations Global Warming Conference in Morocco. Now, the UN censors blacklisted us, and I can see why. Sheila was the only real journalist there showing all the scams, like those fake electric car chargers, or how they actually watered the desert every morning to keep the dust down. Or same thing when we covered the UN Nanny State Convention in India. And you know we're bothering the elites. You know we're doing something none of the rest of the media are doing when Rachel Notley sent an armed sheriff to kick our reporter out of the legislature. So the big plan is to do what we're doing, but to double it, and then double it again, and soon have as many Canadians getting their political news from us as from anyone else. I mean, imagine if every morning the talk around the office water cooler or the local diner in town was about something that people saw on the Rebel. If we were that big, if we got millions of views every day, wouldn't that be great? Do you think it's possible? I remember when we started the Rebel in my living room, I remember there was a reporter from Al Jazeera America who mocked us for it. Well, we're no longer in my living room, but Al Jazeera America itself is off the air. Our office this past year and a half has been, shall we say, a bit rough. I mean, leaky roof, secondhand furniture we bought on Craigslist. People still make fun of us, like the fancy liberal elites at the downtown offices of the Globe and Mail and the Toronto Star. But here's the thing, we've been able to grow while the mainstream media loses money and lays off reporters by the hundred. And that's my point. So many newspapers and magazines and TV stations are failing. And it's not just old technology. Even state-of-the-art left-wing websites like the Huffington Post and BuzzFeed and Vice, they've all laid off staff in Canada this year too. People want something different, something conservative, something freedom-loving, something politically incorrect. The other side of the story, I don't know if conservatives make up 30% or 40% or 50% of the country. I don't know. But I know whatever the number is, there isn't anywhere for those people to go for news and views. That's the big plan for the Rebel, to be a major broadcaster for that major audience. So now let me tell you something that I think is going to surprise you. In the last 30 days, our Rebel videos have been watched more than 19 million times. It's not a typo, I didn't misspeak. 19 million in just the last month. That's an average of more than 630,000 views a day. You know what? That's more people than watch Peter Mansbridge on the CBC's The National on any given day. Since we started our company last year, we've broadcast more than 5,000 videos, and people have watched them for nearly 500 million minutes. I know that sounds crazy huge for a website started in my living room, but it's a fact. One more comparison, we now have more than 440,000 YouTube subscribers. We're already one of the top 100 YouTube news sites in the world. That's nearly twice what the CBC has. That's almost 10 times what Global News has. So what do you think of my crazy plan now? Is it a little less crazy? Maybe, just maybe, if we stay smart and really keep an eye on costs and always listen to you, our viewers, maybe. Do you think maybe we can do it? Well, that's the goal. That's the place we want to get to. The big plan is how we're going to get to that goal. Last year, we crowdfunded our studio, a small room in the middle of our office with sound-absorbing foam and a green screen onto which the computer projects different backgrounds, and lights and inexpensive cameras to film all our shows and videos. It's where we do everything from my daily show to Lauren's viral videos. It was a big expense for us, $80,000 for the studio, and we've used it well, I think. Thousands of videos made in here. I'm doing this in our studio right now. Trouble is, there's often a lineup for our team to use this studio because we've got me and Faith and Lauren and David Menzies and now Jay Fiza and so many people in our tiny office that we're backed up like airplanes on a runway waiting to take off. We need another studio. We need another runway if we're going to grow. I mean, the CBC has dozens of studios. They probably have a dozen studios just in their Toronto downtown palace. We need one more. And if we're careful about scheduling, that one extra studio will allow us to more than double our output. Imagine if we did 20 or eventually 25 news videos a day, not just the 10 or so that we do now. That would be as much as any TV news channel does. That would be as big as CNN. We need a bigger office. I mean, we've paid almost no rent at our current location. It's amazing, but it's way too small. I mean, there's always a lineup at the bathroom. We have a fridge and a coffee maker and a microwave, but we don't have a kitchen or a lunchroom. We don't even have a boardroom for meetings here. We have to have meetings in the studio when it's not in use. So yeah, we need a new office. We need a new studio, and we need new equipment for the studio, a new control panel, cameras and lights. We need new computers. As we hire more producers and editors, we need all these tools. Each tool is a few $1,000s, some are a few $100s. The biggest is $30,000. There are 68 tools, 68 things we need to reach our goal. And taken together, I really think they're the building blocks of the big plan. They're what's going to allow us to double our size and then double again. I know it sounds like an impossible dream, but I deeply believe we can do this. That in our very low cost, grassroots style, if we don't get fancy and if we don't waste money, I truly believe we can build something that is as large as CTV or the CBC or maybe even one day CNN when it comes to political news and making a difference. Look, I believe in this enough that I put my life savings, close to $100,000, into our little company. This isn't just a job for me, it's my mission. I love it. I love our team. I trust them. I trust the fact that we're doing something that's resonating with viewers. I love that sometimes people come up to me on the street to tell me they're grateful for our work. I know people don't say that to CTV. I love that when we do events like our movie premieres, that it's standing room only, lines around the block. That's amazing to me. In a perverse way, I even love it that we're the only media in the country that irritates Rachel Notley enough for her to send an armed sheriff to kick us out. We got to be doing something right. I just want to do a lot more of that. We don't get $1.5 billion a year like the CBC gets. At Sun News, the company had about $20 million a year, but it was sabotaged by politics and it was in a dying industry, cable TV. Now, after 21 months at the Rebel, I'm here to say we've got the big plan to do it, to be bigger than Sun News ever was, and to finally be the counterweight to the media party, to finally equalize things. If you help us build out our new permanent office with the second studio and room for more editors and computers and things like a printer that works, and a small makeup area for our on-air personalities, and better microphones and better camera lenses like the one DSLR camera we have that does those truly beautiful effects. And if we can get real computers, not just the computers we bring from home, but real video editing computers that can do fancy graphic effects like this one here, and powerful software to do even more amazing graphics, and the budget to buy royalty-free images that we can't afford now, that's the plan. The plan was 68 parts. We have a list of 68 things. Now, none of them on their own are earth-shattering, but all of them together, that's the big plan. To make the largest new TV station to debut in Canada since the Sun News Network started back in 2011. But this one won't be subject to the regulatory whims of the CRTC. This one won't be subject to the political censorship of the Broadcast Standards Council. This one won't be subject to abuse by Canada's left-wing cable monopolies, who all have to suck up to Trudeau's Liberals. And best of all, we're going to be on the internet. We are on the internet, where we can be seen by anyone, anywhere, on their phone, on their laptop, whatever. We're growing like crazy already. We're signing up more than 1,000 new YouTube subscribers every single day. We're going to hit a 500 million minutes viewed sometime later this month. We're getting there. But we need those 68 things just to grow. We need an audio board for better sound. We need a camera crane for shots that fancy studios do that make us look bigger than we really are. And I'll tell you what we're going to do with all these 68 tools. We're going to use them to produce so much more journalism, more reports, more commentaries, more events. We're going to have the infrastructure to use the talent we already have now, and to add more people over time, to hire more conservative millennials like Lauren and Jay, more people fighting for free speech, more people fighting back against the theory of man-made global warming. We'll have more interesting journalistic missions, like showing you the reality of the Calais refugee camp in France, or the terrorist hotbed of Molenbeek, Belgium. We're going to keep doing things like that no one else is doing. That's what we need the second studio for, the bigger office. We have so many great people. Right now, we don't even have the equipment to keep up with them. We have lineups. We need equipment. We found a new office. It's the opposite of fancy. It's in an industrial area, but it's perfect for us. The landlord has agreed to make some changes, so we'll have 2 studios and a meeting room and an extra bathroom, and we'll even have a sink in the kitchen for once. Here's a look at it. 5,400 square feet. I mean, that's not much bigger than the lunchroom at the CBC, I know, but it's enough room for our whole team and then some. We're moving in later this month. We've got the keys already, but we need your help. We can't afford those 68 tools on our own. If you like the big plan, please help us out. Click here or visit www.thebigplan.ca to visit our crowdfunding page. Will you help us out? Will you give us the tools so we can do the job? Our crowdfunding page is sort of like a wedding registry, where you can choose from different parts of the project that you want to personally help us build. Maybe you want to help us cover the cost of one microphone, or to pay for video editing software. Who wants to chip in $200 for a fancy camera lens? We could use one. Check it out at thebigplan.ca. There's so many fun things to help with. You'll see the results almost immediately. We're moving into the new office over Christmas, and we'll start using it on January 2nd. Oh, one more thing. It's something we did last year that was so great when we built this studio. I want to do it again. I want to invite you to permanently make your mark, literally your mark, on our company. For the last crowdfunding campaign, anyone who donated a certain amount got their name inscribed on a brick. It was a wallpaper brick, not a real brick, but name inscribed, permanently affixed to the outside wall of the studio with an inscription if they wanted. By the way, we're going to move our current wall, or at least the wallpaper part, to the new office. So we'll always remember the folks who helped give birth to our company. But now we have to move from a little startup to a big competitor. The 68 items we need now cost roughly $206,000 altogether. So we need 4,000 people to chip in an average of $51.50 to do it. If you contribute $51.50, we'll put your name on a brick in our new office, just like these ones on our current office. I look at these bricks every day, by the way, and I'm reminded of my moral obligation to live up to your expectations and to work as hard as I can to be worthy of your gift. It's worked well. I mean, let's do it for our new place too. Your name will literally stare at me every day and it'll whisper, Ezra, keep fighting the fight. People are counting on you. They're helping you. Do your best. Our whole staff reads those names every day. In addition to the symbolic bricks for $51.50, we'll have foundation stones, which will run along the bottom of our walls. And those are for people who give $1,000 or more. And for people who really want to be cornerstones of the big plan, well, we will have cornerstones. Not too many of them. We'll have cornerstones on all the corners. And if you contribute $1,500, your name will go on them. By the way, we'll have other special perks for people who contribute more than $1,000. Now, you can also buy an honorary brick for someone as a Christmas gift. We'll inscribe it with their name and your name, and we will send them an e-card letting them know. And if you love this idea so much, if you love this big plan as much as I do, if you are as excited about it as I am, we're letting 2 people sponsor the 2 studios. We will have a special lintel stone. That's what it's called, the symbolic stone above the doorway into each studio inside for $10,000 each. I know, it would be amazing. That would be amazing. And we would name the studio after you. We'll say, we'll record this in the Jones studio or the Smith studio or whatever. That would be amazing. It would be amazing for us and it would be an amazing gift. Look, if we were the CBC, we would just get our $1.5 billion a year from Trudeau. That's what we would do. But we're not the CBC. We are a free, independent startup. We rely on our viewers, and that is the better way to be. The Globe and Mail and the Toronto Star and Al Jazeera, they all laughed at us when we started. Yeah, they're not laughing now. We've done so much, but there is still so much more to do. We have the goal. You heard my goal. Be as big and influential as CTV or the CBC. And now we have the big plan to get us to that goal. Please think about what we could do together with this plan. God knows Canada needs it. Go to thebigplan.ca. Thank you, and good luck to us all. We'd love to have your support for the big plan. And to see the fruits of our plan, click to subscribe below.